This is a review for episode 4 of Game of Thrones, so spoiler warning for that episode. If you haven't seen episode 4, what are you doing here and what are you doing with your life? You might actually ask yourself the same 2 questions after watching this video, or a few minutes of it. Winner for last week's giveaway will be announced at the end of this video, along with a new gift card giveaway and how you can enter to win one. We open yet again at the wall and see Jon is still at Castle Black. I can't help but think this is the awkward situation when you quit your job in a dramatic fashion and then can't quite make an epic exit. Jon is rocking a bun though. Jon heading south shows how exhausted and defeated he is, like Ed brings up. You know it's coming, so you won't be able to stay warm for long. But Jon points out hanging around people that killed you isn't the healthiest thing to do. And he believes since he failed, it's his time to move on. Sansa and Brienne arriving at Castle Black before Jon left was such a relief. I needed a Stark reunion, even if it was a small one. Sophia and Kit played this scene perfectly. How Jon was so shocked to see her and he took a step back. I feel as if since dying, Jon has become a hugger. He's definitely a hugger now. Seeing the 2 Starks sitting, not in immediate risk and just chilling, was incredibly therapeutic. And Jon saying, "Where will we go?" was just, aww. Sansa asking for forgiveness for being a little brat to Jon as a child, for me, especially as a book reader, just even though this hasn't happened in the books and might not ever happen, was another one of those tender moments because she was kind of a little bitch, but she was also kind of like a little prissy kid and just had her whole ideals and her idea of how the world worked. And I don't think it worked exactly how she thought it did. Well, no, I don't think it. The world didn't work how she thought it did. But she was also a little kid. But not everyone grows out of being a spoiled little brat, and not a lot of people can look back and say, yeah, I was a spoiled little brat. So, kudos to her. However, I am a little pissed that they skipped the conversation where Jon explained everything that went on, because we know from their dialogue that he did tell Sansa about what had been happening. I would have loved to hear that conversation and see her respond to it. Oh yeah, I was stabbed to death, I came back to life, there's these guys roaming around north of the wall, they can bring the dead back to life, and they have a huge undead army, and it's probably gonna hit the wall any moment now, and just wreck Westeros. Do you wanna, I don't know, go do shit? What has Sansa encountered in her journey so far that would let her process that and not be freaked the heck out? Out of all her siblings still alive, Sansa has had the least interaction with magical things. Maybe Rickon would tie with her, but I have no idea what that little bugger has been up to. I'm still pretending that he just got back from riding unicorns and taming cannibals on Skagos. So anyways, really think about that conversation and how Sansa would actually respond. Has she just given up on all fucks at this point? Is she just post-Ned and everything she's been through? She's like, yeah, I got 0 fucks. I'm sorry. I know you want me to care. That's great. Oh, you died and you came back to life. Oh, there's an undead army. Cool story, bro. Let's go fuck up some Boltons. And I'm not sure how I feel about bloodthirsty warrior Sansa, but you kind of expect it at this point. She has been other people's pawns for so long, and she just got out of a marriage where every single day she was sexually assaulted. So I can kind of understand her wanting to kick down those doors and stab Ramsay to death. Davos is understandably upset that Melisandre has now chosen to follow Jon around like a puppy and declared him the prince that was promised. I wonder if Davos also worries that Melisandre will lead Jon to the same fate as Stannis. And when Davos approached Melisandre, I thought for sure we were going to get her Shireen reveal. I was ready for the throwdown. Then that sneaky Mel got around it. But here's the weird thing about that scene. Why hasn't this conversation happened before? You're telling me Davos and Melisandre haven't talked about Stannis this whole time? Was he just giving her space or something? If the man I was incredibly loyal to and the little girl I was incredibly attached to died, I'd want some fucking answers. Hey, did you see Shireen die? Could the Boltons have taken her ransom? Did her father know they were going to lose and send her on a horse with men? I mean, he would ask some of these questions, right? Because if you look at it, Davos and Melisandre have both jumped to the Jon Snow ship. Davos was all about resurrecting Jon instead of, as we learned, inquiring about the adorable little girl that he loved or learning more about his king. And Melisandre was all about Stannis being the prince that was promised, but as soon as things weren't looking up for him, she was like, I am out of here. And then she found a cuter guy, arguably, to take his place. Fair weather friends, man. Fair weather friends. So this conversation happens, and then Brienne shows up, and she said that she saw what happened, and I was thinking, wait, how would she have seen Shireen's sacrifice? Oh god, here it comes. Then nope, nothing about Shireen. I had a bit of fear that she was going to kill Melisandre because she was aware the priestess was involved with blood magic that killed Renly, but then she just fluffed her feathers and talked about how she would never forget what they did. Then she talked about Stannis and executing him, and this is why I didn't want you guys speculating about Stannis still being alive and him taking Deepwood Motte. I told you guys, I said, don't do it. Don't talk about it in the comment section because I knew this was going to happen. I didn't really care if Stannis was dead or not. I could give two shits less about Stannis. Stannis was a boring, stupid character. I was looking out for you guys. And I'm really disappointed that you guys still thought that he was alive after time again I told you that he was dead and to get over it. I'll never love again. I just feel really bad about how you guys got your hopes up and you just had them dashed. Though her last line was awesome. She basically said, hey, you know how you killed my king? Oops, I killed yours. Watch your back. So if Brienne, Davos, and Melisandre all join Jon, imagine what awkward company they are. On one side, you have a woman that executed your king. On the other side, you have a woman whose shitty planning and advice led to your king's death, and she also burned that adorable little girl that you were very attached to, which I'm sure at any moment now is going to be revealed. Super uncomfortable company. Tormund and Brienne was the hot romance I never thought I needed until this episode. North of the Wall, women like Brienne are a hot commodity. Tormund was absolutely smitten by her when she first rode into Castle Black. Then at dinner where he was just eye-fucking her and waggling his eyebrows at her. And Ed is watching this and thinking, please God, just go, Jon, and take the wildlings. This shit is just getting too weird for me. Brienne did seem a little weirded out, but I think she could come around. She just isn't used to men hitting on her and finding her size and abilities a turn on. A wildling husband might work for her. He'd love that she was a big woman and a fighter and basically have the opposite reaction to her than most of the Seven Kingdoms. The differences in culture might be a hard sell at first, but I'm sure they could make it work. Though I'm sure this is just a fun bit and won't go anywhere. And please don't go the Grey Worm, Missandei level romance. We don't need that. We don't need full-scale scenes that have nothing to do with the plot and we don't really give a shit. We don't need just little things, you know, like a little eye contact, eyebrows going, maybe some of that meat, bread fucking scene that we saw, a flirtatious comment. That's all we need. We don't need a lot. You can still be progressing the plot and giving us cutesy little moments like that. And if you're still not sold on the whole Tormund-Brienne romance, I want you to think about this. Tormund fucked a bear. Brienne was almost fucked by a bear. They have so much in common. I'm sure tons of people have made that joke by now. Damn it. At this dinner, we also got the pink letter, more or less. I think the alteration to the pink letter just made it more apparent how absolutely out of his mind Ramsay is. This kid is thinking he is a big-time player because he was given a little power. He thinks he has everything under wraps. The cutesy rhyming and threatening was the equivalent of this. Come at me, bro. Come at me. Come on, fight me. I'll destroy you. I'll destroy you. I swear to God, if they had Facebook chat in their universe, he would have told Jon to accept his friend request and told Jon he'd destroy him. Come debate me, bro. I'll destroy you. Come and see. Jon, do not accept that friend request on Facebook. He'll destroy you. And for the love of God, do not give him your Skype username. His behavior lately really just shows how inexperienced, childish, and delusional he truly is. Act like a wild dog, you'll be put down like a wild dog. Or mad dog, I can't remember which was the line already, and I'm more than sure people will correct me in the comment section, because if it's one thing you can count on the internet for, it's being very civil and nice to you, and just supporting you in everything you do, and never criticizing anything you do or correcting you, because they know that you're a beautiful little snowflake, and you just need to be you. But seriously, how many people are you going to pick a fight with, Ramsay? And are you going to be totally shocked when this all blows up in your face and it doesn't go swimmingly? Because this isn't going to end well for you. Your behavior lately is really hasty and really not far planned. You have a lot of issues. So you're picking fights with people, you have shitty plans, and you're telling people that you're going to fight them on Skype. This shit is gonna blow up in your face. The letter also showed how sensitive Ramsay still is about the whole bastard thing and being legitimized, and I really hope before Jon kills him, he calls him a bastard, and you just see that rage and anger in his eyes. And really, this letter was also stupid because Jon didn't want to fight before that letter. If he did, he may have had to really convince the wildlings to go to war against Ramsay. Then Ramsay, being the spoiled fucking brat he is, taunts people. Good job, Ramsay. Just keep poking people. I'm sure it's going to turn out great for you in the end, especially if you still have Sir 20 of House Goodman on your side. But maybe this is part of his plan. Maybe the Umbers are still loyal to the Boltons because they really, really hate the wildlings, and Ramsay is agreeing to help destroy them. So Ramsay taunts Jon into bringing his wildling friends down where they can have the advantage. It would look incredibly bad if Ramsay went up to Castle Black and waged war on the Night's Watch. But if he draws the Lord Commander down, as Ramsay doesn't know about stabby time yet, and the Lord Commander attacks Winterfell with wildlings no less, boom, that's a much better situation. You got way more support from the north, and Jon looks guilty as heck. But with stabby time, the game has changed. And I still think that all Ramsay's plans, including that letter, were poorly done, and he's making some very hasty decisions. 5,000 Bolton men versus 2,000 wildlings might not be good odds, but Sansa is convinced the northern houses will flock to Jon if he asks. And I'm hoping this is where the Manderleys come in, and that we even might get some holes drilled in a lake if we're going for a more strategic battle on Winterfell. But what we could do with Davos is, Sansa's all like, hey, Jon, you need to get more houses on your side. And Davos is like, hey, I can go to White Harbor, talk to Lord Manderley a little bit, and then get him on his side, and then he pretends to be on Ramsay's side, and then towards the end of the season, then we have the bastard bull or whatever we're calling it now, and then the attack on Winterfell and all that stuff happens, and then the Manderleys totally turn around and screw Ramsay. At Winterfell, Ramsay just needs to go. He's slowly become, well, maybe not that slowly. He's kind of slowly become a cartoon villain. He's a Hollywood villain. So when people say, oh, Ramsay isn't going to die this season, honestly, the entire setup is leading to his death. They tend to pile on things right before a character dies to get us to hate them. Look at last season. Stannis before he died. Sir Pedophile before he died. They tend to take it a little too far, which is something I don't always like. I enjoy feeling conflicted when a character dies. I don't want it thrown in my face over and over again. This guy is evil, and you should definitely be happy when he dies. Not that he isn't a complete psycho in the books, but it never felt thrown in my face as much as the show does. They started to do the same thing with Ollie. Like, anytime we see Ramsay at this point, we expect him to be stabbing shit. Taking a bath? Better stab shit. Reading Westeros news today? Better stab shit. I'm really not sure why they brought Osha back just for a few minutes of screen time. Was this in her contract? Was she saying, hey, I'm really busy right now, I have these 2 television shows, I'm the main cast on one, I can only come back for a few days of filming. Any way you could fit me in? Oh, sure, we have a great part for you. Does Ramsay not have anything better to do with his time? He loves games. Great. You have a lot of work to do to get your army ready and continue making alliances, take care of Jon Snow, who you obviously view as a threat, and work on securing the North long term. Was it necessary to take time out of your day and put yourself in danger by dealing with a wildling that literally has 0 influence on you right now? Maybe stop dicking around? Was this your mealtime entertainment? Can you not eat without a little blood? And then the cartoony way he just smiled and went back to his meal. Ugh, it just seems so unnecessary. Maybe I'm just like so tired of Ramsay right now and I'm just ranting my frustration. They should have just let the Umbers say that they killed the wildling bitch that was with Rickon. Umbers hate wildlings. No one would have batted an eye. Did anyone think there was a chance that Ramsay was going to die in this scene? Not if they've been paying attention to how the writers treat Ramsay. Now I'm wondering if he had planned on killing her the whole time, or only decided to do so when she started reaching for the knife, and show that she was still loyal to the Starks. He clearly knew that she was reaching for it when he grabbed her hair once she started reaching for it and switched her to the other side so the knife was way out of reach. And through Theon's admissions, he likely knew she seduced Theon before. He might have planned to keep her alive to torment her for a bit, but her showing how ready she was to kill him may have changed those plans. I wouldn't be surprised if he purposely put the knife there to try to tempt her too. I personally would have loved to see Osha going around killing people in Winterfell and just screwing up morale, but I get that she probably would have had to wait until more houses got to Winterfell in order to do that so it didn't look super suspicious. But I'm still hoping that if the Manderleys go to Winterfell, we still might get a ghost in Winterfell. Theon made it back to his home or the Iron Islands, the same episode Sansa made it to Castle Black. These two events cannot be happening at the same time, so I have no idea when the Iron Island events are taking place. Maybe the Iron Island scenes are days or weeks in the future? I even mapped this out after the episode. It's impossible for them to reach their respective destinations at the same time. Unless he took that underground subway system that Westeros has. I know they've mentioned it quite a bit throughout the seasons, but it's just been way too expensive to show, and I understand with their budget they can only do so much. So they kind of just alluded to it, but they haven't shown viewers yet that Westeros has that substation underneath and it just travels throughout, and that's why certain characters get places so fast and why other characters take a little bit more time, because some characters don't actually know about the subway system, but people like Littlefinger, Theon, they do know it. For as much brother-sister love we got this episode, Theon's sibling time wasn't as great. But that's to be expected, as Yara instantly saw him as a threat to her possibly ruling. When she kept asking him what he wanted, I just wanted him to say, a home. Theon just wants a damn home, especially after screwing up the closest one he ever had. Theon wanting to help Yara rule, that might not go over too well at the King's Moot though. Theon was raised off the Iron Islands. When he came back, he had trouble getting them to respect him. Then, as Balon's only living son, he's willing to throw away any chance at ruling the Iron Islands and say his sister should rule. You have to think that would only hurt him more with how the Ironborn see him. I don't think Theon's voice is going to help Yara at all. So why is Theon back in the Iron Islands? Well, likely Euron is going to become the new king of the Iron Islands, and then he's going to send Yara to go to Daenerys, and Theon will most likely tag along. I would actually like to see Theon and Euron together, because I feel like that dynamic would be more fun to watch, but I mean, I'll take Yara and Theon, that's not a big deal. So, coincidentally, they are going to find Daenerys, whose ships are now burned, but she has a Dothraki army and she needs to get to Westeros, and then the Ironborn are going to come with their ships, and then she's going to team up with them, which might not actually be the best thing, because the Iron Islands aren't very loved in Westeros, and you have this person coming to claim the throne and cause chaos in the realm, and she's backed by basically the cousins that you wish weren't part of your family. But hey, after the Lannisters, maybe they'll accept their new overlord. The Vale, Littlefinger being Littlefinger, Robin being the same psycho kid, I do like Peter leading Robin into making decisions he wants him to make. That was my instinct as well line, was really cute. King's Landing, Margaery, and Loras. I hate people being attacked for who they are, whether it is their sexual orientation, their body, how they dress, talk, whatever. So seeing Loras being beat up for who he is really kind of sets my teeth on edge. Now to see if Margaery admits to anything before the Tyrell army gets there to help her brother. Later, Tommen confides in his mother, telling her, hey, you can't tell anyone this secret. Then she goes right to the small council meeting and tells his secret. Fantastic. Is it me, or do Jaime and Cersei stand way too close for siblings? I have never stood that close to my brother, but then again, I've also never fucked my brother, so maybe you two shouldn't be standing so close together if you want to maintain the illusion that you aren't lovers. But really at this point, who doesn't know? I'm sure everyone knows or suspects it. You'd think they'd try a little harder though to hide it and give off the illusion of a normal sibling relationship. Maybe they just don't care at this point. I like that there was no mention of Loras at this meeting. You know, show Tyrell's heir, the person that's going to carry on their line, the only sibling of Margaery in the show, kind of an important guy for your society and culture. That person. Maybe want to talk about him a little bit, talk about getting him out too. I understand Margaery's the queen, but livelihood of your house. Might want to think about that. Maybe bring it up a little bit. Just a suggestion. So this is all going to lead to what we've seen in the trailers. the Tyrell army challenging the Faith, the High Sparrow, and trying to get Marjorie away from them, and it is going to go swimmingly, and it's going to go exactly how Cersei wants it to. Terribly. The Tyrells stand up to the High Sparrow, likely a conflict starts, a civil war occurs, and all the blame is on the Tyrells. The Lannisters, Baratheons, Crown, whatever, stood down. They didn't attack the Faith militant. So Cersei gets to watch as her enemy or rival is torn down while fighting the Faith's followers, and it just hurts the Tyrells' reputation and power in the city and in general, which Cersei will absolutely love. But this is, again, gonna backfire on her. I'm interested to see if Tyrion is actually making the deal with the Masters to end slavery slowly and give them time to adjust, or if this is just a ruse. Is he stalling and trying to hold Meereen until Daenerys can come back and maybe take care of them with her dragons? Tyrion has to know that when Daenerys comes back, she will not be pleased with the 7-year situation. Or perhaps he can convince her that this is the wisest plan and she'll actually listen. Like he said, slavery is awful, but so is war. He can only prevent one at a time. With any luck, he can hold Meereen while she heads to Westeros. The showrunners drew inspiration from Abe Lincoln and how he wasn't immediately trying to go to war to get slavery to stop, and he tried to make compromises and work with the slave owners, and they were doing the same thing with Tyrion, where he didn't want to go to war yet. He wanted to try to make compromises and talk it through. So knowing that they drew inspiration from Abe Lincoln, I'm wondering if it's going to end the same way. Trying to work on compromise, trying to work with them, and then it just doesn't work, and then a war happens. Even though the Abe Lincoln thing, they drew inspiration from it, is not completely the same, obviously. Many different factors besides slavery with that war, but we get what they meant. Lastly, Daario, Jorah, and Daenerys. Daario is such a dick, rubbing it in Jorah's face that he has never slept with Daenerys and probably never will. I did love the ride the dragon line, though. Painted a very vivid picture. Jorah's fight with the Dothraki man was hilarious. Of course, they built up to this, showing how fatigued he was getting and how much the grayscale was affecting him. He's slowing down, he's out of breath when he's climbing a hill. It's not like last season or before when he could take on someone and it was an easier challenge. Even though I don't think, even without the grayscale, that he could have taken on that man. He's a Dothraki, at least fist to fist. If you give him a weapon, yeah, Jorah would have likely kicked his ass, but hand-to-hand combat with a man that was bigger than him and younger than him and basically fist fights for fun all the time, I don't think he would have done so well. Sword, yes. Fist to fist, no way. Of course, the best part of the fight was Jorah throwing the sand up at the man, trying to get it in his eyes, and just failing. Love the solution to the stab wound. Very efficient. The Dothraki have been a bit of comedic relief in a way we've never seen before. The talk between them about the blood being spilt in the city. It is forbidden to spill blood in the sacred city. Well, there's always a little blood. Also, hey, yeah, he was part of my group. Fuck him. The end scene in the hut. I thought for sure Daenerys was going to have her dragon come in, she was going to intimidate the men, and they were going to bow down to her, and then she was going to get the Dothraki on her side. No, that scene went much darker. When she locked them in the hut to burn them alive, my immediate out-loud reaction was, Jesus Christ, Daenerys! I feel like his line summed up my thoughts. That look on her face while they were burning was incredibly scary. She almost looked like she was getting joy from their death. You know who also really enjoyed burning people and got pleasure from it? Oh right, her batshit crazy father, Aerys II, also known as the Mad King. This isn't worrisome at all. I like how characters think Daenerys is different from her father, but maybe in the show she isn't so different. I mean, I get people were threatening to rape her, but just to watch with that smug look while people burn alive? My God. And Jorah and Daario are watching that hut burn, and the look they gave each other, yeah, this is some messed up shit. Then at the end, Jorah was taking extra peeks at Daenerys when she was naked, because, hey, he's a dying man. How many more times is he going to be able to see her come out of a fire completely naked and unharmed? And honestly, I really hope this end scene will put an end to all the bitching that she has a no nudity clause, which I don't even know why bothered people in the first place. If you want to see her boobies, you can use Google. Through the power of the internet, you can actually see tons and tons of sacks of fat attached to women's chests. Do not tell everyone about this because it's between you and me, but seriously, put in boobies and Google, hit images. You're welcome. You're welcome. Just the whole she's no longer getting nude thing was really weird too, because the rumors started and people kept saying that, and then she was actually nude in a scene and there were still rumors happening, so it just didn't make sense. And I feel like that's why we got a lot of long shots on her body and they kept just like zooming in. It was like the showrunners and Amelia's way of saying there isn't a no nudity clause. Look, here are my boobs. Are you happy? They pretty much just look like boobs. But now that we got those boobies back, I feel like we need to take more. I have a suspicion that she has a no full frontal nudity clause in her contract, and I want to see that bush. D&D, do you hear me? If I don't get the bush, I'm not gonna watch. Hashtag let us see the bush. Make it happen. Daenerys being fireproof, they've made this canon in the show for quite a while now, so it didn't really bother me. There's been scenes showing that she's either really heat resistant or fireproof, so I don't know, at this point I had just accepted the change for the show and it didn't really bother me. Though I'm kind of wondering now what are the rules for the fireproof or fire resistance in the show, because Aemon certainly wasn't fireproof and Viserys got a golden surprise. So maybe this is just specific for those that have the dragon in them, as Daenerys said and Viserys claimed to have. Show Targaryens being immune to fire or heat are a rarity. Now to guess how she's going to get out of the situation in the books. I'm still banking on the dragons. Daenerys finally has her Dothraki army, and at the same time she cut off a huge supplier of slaves with the Dothraki at her side. Now I'm beginning to think that we're going to see Daenerys in Westeros soon, but think about how she's going to be viewed when she comes back there. She'll hopefully have dragons, former slaves, barbarians, maybe the Ironborn that have a terrible reputation in the Seven Kingdoms. How do you think they'll respond to her? Some might be enthused to see a Targaryen back on the throne, until they see what she brought with her and the things they do. We know how the Dothraki act in war. She will need to dial back their enthusiasm a bit. But this is Aegon the Conqueror again, with army modifications, and she's currently missing some extra spouses, so it could work out the same. I do wonder how many will resist her though. An argument could be made about the level of support she might get. Will Dorne be happy with the Sand Snakes ruling it? Will the Realm be happy with a bastard ruling them? Will the North be happy with the Boltons? Will the Vale remain happy with Littlefinger puppeting Robin? The power dynamics could and will change by the time she gets to Westeros, but seeing the sides people take will be fun. We also have to imagine that when she gets to Westeros, she might not be fighting humans, but an undead army, which, seeing dragons taking on whites, I need to see. Maybe that's why they're cutting episodes for future seasons. They're spending all their budget on an epic dragon versus undead fight. So those are my thoughts. What did you think of the episode? What were your favorite parts? Which were your least favorite parts? What could you have done without? Giveaways. The winner of the giveaway for last week is Matthew Graham, who wrote, Ramsay to be killed by Tormund. My guess would be that Jon is in a bad spot and about to die, again, but the giant ginger comes in to save the day. That could be reversed. There's a lot of bro-loving going on with those two. Matthew, I'll send you a YouTube message with how to get your gift card. New giveaway for a $20 gift card to Amazon, because I don't want to do poster or t-shirt giveaways anymore because I'm lazy. All you have to do is write in the comment section below if you were in the Game of Thrones world or in the Song of Ice and Fire world, how do you think you would die? You can be as creative and grotesque as your little heart desires, and I will pick my favorite comment. And I have a really dark sense of humor, so the darker the better. So thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and come back for more Game of Thrones, comics, Star Wars, and anything sci-fi fantasy related. And if you want to check out other great content, check out CivilizationEx or Alt-Shift-X, which I'm sure you've already subscribed to, and tell them Rawrist sent you. Links in the video description below. You hear that, D&D? Either we get the bush or nothing at all. Hashtag. Hashtag. Okay. Dead puppies. Nazi jokes. Hashtag. Give us the bush. Hashtag. Give us the bush.